Welcome to Wednesday's second video with new stories from Somaliland, Ethiopia and Sudan. Firstly, Somaliland, where a journalist has been arrested. The crime of this journalist is that he broke a news that President Abdi's family is involved in corrupt practices in Hargeisa. Secondly, a new story about Ethiopian Prosperity Party government officials, ministers who are in Jerusalem, Israel. Yesterday, I shared pictures of some Amhara activists protesting outside a hotel where this PP party delegation is staying. Now the activists are confronting these Prosperity Party leaders. We have a clip for you. It is becoming difficult for these Prosperity Party officials, minister, to come out of the hotel because they are being confronted by protesting Amhara ethnic group members. We have a clip for you. Thirdly, a new story from Sudan, viewers. Ethiopian state media is claiming that those Tigray fighters who were being trained at training camps in Sudan are returning to IDP camps. Is it due to pressure on Sudan that Sudan has stopped backing Tigray fighters? What is happening there? Fourthly, two news stories about Tigray, Ethiopia peace process. On Thursday, African Union is due to meet its Peace and Security Council. Olusegun Obasanjo is going to brief a Peace and Security Council of African Union, a key meeting about Tigray conflict. This meeting is very crucial because it is going to happen after yesterday's announcement by EU, US and UN diplomats urging the government to restart basic services in Tigray. What will be discussed at tomorrow's meeting, keeping in view the fact that Tigray has questioned the impartiality of African Union? It wants Kenya to be playing a leading role in Tigray-Ethiopia peace process. Lastly, was yesterday, joint statement was released by EU and US ambassadors urging the government to resume basic services in Tigray for the start of talks. So far, no official response from Ethiopian government. But one ambassador, Ethiopian ambassador, a few hours ago spoke. We'll have a look at what he said. Are his comments his personal opinion, or is he saying what could be the position of Ethiopian federal government? Though this ambassador is known for making some outlandish remarks, some irresponsible remarks in the past as well, though he's a sitting ambassador, I think. But we'll have a look at what he said. Firstly, first news story from Somaliland, viewers. Self-declared country in the Horn of Africa. Somalia says it's part of Somalia. Unrecognized by most countries of the world, Somaliland shares border with Ethiopia, obviously with Somalia as well. The country is being led by Abdi, and in November, presidential election will be held. And the country takes pride in being a democratic country, that there is press freedom and there is democracy, elections are held, a smooth transfer of power happens after elections. But in recent months, we have seen that journalists have been targeted in Somaliland. Whoever speaks against Abdi or his family is arrested. Today, a journalist was arrested in Hargeisa. His name is Abdi Qadir. He works for Irial TV. He was arrested in Hargeisa, Somaliland's capital. What is his crime? This journalist A few days ago broke a news about passport issuing office in Hargeisa. And the journalist said that in Garowe, Puntland, $150 are charged for the issuance of Somali passport. But in Hargeisa, $300 are being charged. So why is that? In Hargeisa, in Somaliland, extra $150 are being charged. The journalist claimed that Musibai Abdi's family is involved in this corruption, in this corrupt practice, and extra money is going into the pockets of Musibai Abdi's family members. So that is why today the journalist was arrested. Let's see when he will be released. Horn of Africa is a difficult region when it comes to cover news, when it comes to covering news about ruling elite. We are seeing what is happening in Ethiopia. Journalists are being arrested randomly, kept in custody, sometimes without any formal legal proceedings. In Eritrea, there is no press freedom. For 2 decades, journalists in prison. In Somalia and Somaliland, situation is the same. Kenya is a little better place, but Kenyan journalists mostly don't focus much on ruling elite, which is involved in corruption. If they start covering their corruption, ruling elite's corruption, they are also targeted. So Horn of Africa is a difficult region for journalists, but Somaliland takes pride in being a democratic country, self-proclaimed country, but you see what's happening there. Opposition is also making preparation for demonstrations in Somaliland. Opposition says that Musibai Abdi is not interested in free and fair presidential election in November. So that is why we could see Wadani and UCID call for demonstrations in coming days. Secondly, we have a story about Ethiopian Prosperity Party officials, government ministers who are in Jerusalem, Israel these days. Yesterday, I shared pictures of some protesters, ethnic Amharas, protesting outside Eldon Hotel in Jerusalem, where these PP party officials are staying. Mufriyat Kamil, Nigoso Telahun and others, around 14-member delegation is in Jerusalem there. Amhara activists are protesting, and they're not just protesting outside the hotel building, now they're confronting these PP party officials. We have a clip for you showing these protesters confronting the delegation, which is getting ready to leave for some place. The protesters are accusing them that these ministers, government officials are involved in the killing of ethnic Amharas. Amhara ethnic group members have been killed in large numbers in recent days in Ethiopia, especially in Welaga. And since then, we're seeing that Amhara diaspora has become very active. A hunger strike ongoing in London. Protest in London in coming hours as well, and in entire Europe, in America, we're seeing that Amhara Association of America and other organizations, they are holding demonstrations, protests on regular basis. They want US Congress to condemn killings of ethnic Amharas, and now in Israel as well, these Ethiopian government officials are being confronted by angry protesters, ethnic Amharas. Watch this clip from Jerusalem, Israel. Thirdly, Ethiopian state media is claiming that those Tigray fighters who were being trained and armed on Sudanese soil are returning to IDP camps. We know that the Ethiopian government has been claiming for months that Sudan is backing its arming Tigray fighters, and Tigray fighters with the backing of Sudanese army, are involved in attacks on Ethiopian government positions on Ethiopia-Sudan border. And some attacks have happened in the past 1 year or so. And in recent days, we have seen some meetings between Ethiopian military officers and Sudanese military officers, and Ethiopia and Eritrea as well. They're pressing the Sudanese government that Sudan should not host any armed group, including Tigray fighters, Oromo Liberation Front, Oromo Liberation Army fighters, and Gomez fighters. And now, state media claims that 180 Tigray fighters, they fled a training camp in Sudan and they entered Hamdayet refugee camp in Sudan just a few days ago. And on daily basis, these fighters are returning to IDP camps. Can we say that Sudan is backing off? It has stopped its support for Tigray fighters. That is why, and Sudan has sent a message to Tigray fighters that it can no longer support them. That is why Tigray fighters are returning to their to the IDP camps in Sudan. Tigray has not issued any statement so far, but IDP camps are reporting new arrivals. New arrivals, can we say they are Tigray fighters, TDF fighters, or are they ordinary civilians? It's not clear, but we know that Ethiopia and Eritrea both are trying to put pressure upon Sudan, that Sudan should stop supporting Tigray fighters. Tigray fighters must not be trained armed on Sudanese soil. And in recent days, Sudan-Ethiopia relations have improved a little. After some border fighting, relations have improved a little. Some meetings have been held. And if Sudan stops supporting Tigray fighters, obviously it could be a matter of concern for those Tigray leaders who think that there could be another military offensive on western part to take back western Tigray. If it happens that Tigray has to attack Humera, Volkai, Seged, and Sudan remains neutral, yes, it could be a blow to Tigray defense force. Lastly, two news stories, viewers, about Tigray conflict. We know that yesterday US, EU officials, special envoys, ambassadors of Italy, UK and Canada traveled to Tigray, and then a joint statement was released by EU and US special envoys, and they urged Ethiopian government to resume basic services, to restore basic services in Tigray. Tigray handed over a letter, a security guarantee to these foreign diplomats that Tigray is ready to ensure the security of the workers who will be involved in the restoration of basic services. But Tigray is maintaining its position that the talks should be led by Kenya, not by African Union. So while things are relatively slowly progressing towards talks, a key meeting is due to be held on Thursday. Tigray has questioned the impartiality of African Union. African Union is meeting tomorrow. Peace and Security Council of African Union will meet tomorrow, and Olusegun Obasanjo will brief this African Union body about Tigray conflict, what has been done so far, what needs to be done. Can African Union in tomorrow's meeting propose some middle way? Ethiopian government says that talks should be led by African Union. Tigray said Kenya should lead the talks. There is stalemate. Can African Union in tomorrow's meeting propose some middle ground acceptable to both the parties? Let's see. Tomorrow's meeting is very key meeting because African Union was not part of the delegation which visited Ethiopia recently. The delegation held key meetings in Addis Ababa, then in Tigray. Now, tomorrow, African Union will meet. We'll update you tomorrow about this key meeting. Lastly, viewers, we have a new story about the response, not official response, by an Ethiopian diplomat to the visit of foreign diplomats to Tigray. As I said earlier, foreign diplomats visited Mekelle, then they issued a statement urging the government to restore basic services. Government has not spoken so far, Ethiopian government. Suleiman Dadefo is an Ethiopian ambassador, known for his irresponsible comments and remarks and posts sometimes. But he is an ambassador. I don't know why he is allowed to speak if what he is saying is not government position. He responded to the joint statement released by EU and US special envoys. He said, how can these Tigray People Liberation Front members, leaders be trusted? They want to destroy Ethiopia. They are stabbing the people of Tigray. How can basic services be restored in Tigray? These people will start another invasion. And these people, TPLF, will never live in peace with the central government. That is why another invasion is inevitable. Invasion by Tigray fighters or by Ethiopian government, not clear. But this man is saying another invasion is inevitable. He is a sitting ambassador, what I have learned. Why is he allowed to speak on policy matters? Who is he to claim that another invasion is inevitable? What is he saying? We are waiting for Ethiopian government's response to EU-US envoy's statement. What will Ethiopian government say? That remains to be seen. But it means there are some elements, part of the government, which are against restoration of basic services in Tigray. People should understand that basic services are not meant for Tigray government. People of Tigray need electricity, banking service, telecom as well. They are suffering, they are dying. Billions of Ethiopian birrs of Tigrayans are in the banks and they cannot withdraw this money and they are dying of hunger. They have right to withdraw this money. Banking service must be restored. Electricity as well, telecom as well. Open up Tigray. Let the people, let the world see what is happening in Tigray. If people are suffering because of TPLF, restore telecom service. Allow journalists to travel to Tigray and people will see for themselves, journalists, international media, what is happening in Tigray. So I personally think that Suleiman Dadefo's remarks are very irresponsible. Diplomats don't speak on their own behalf. They represent countries. We cannot take their remarks as their personal opinions. They should be very, very careful. In the same way, we see that Ethiopian National Defense Force sometimes issues statements which are irresponsible statements. These individuals, these organizations, armies, institutions are under Ethiopian government. Let the government decide. Let the negotiators, the 7-member negotiators committee decide what should happen next. Thank you for watching.